All right. Happy Monday. Good to see everybody. Big waves to you. Man, I missed you guys. Couple of days of not being able to be on, and I'm like, oh, I need my fix. So I'm going to get it this morning. Good to see everybody. We got a great week lined up, and today was a great day. Actually, I'm probably going to have to bandage my toes up a little bit today because they got quite stepped on as I looked at this word. Have how many of you maybe put a one in the comments if we've done a word on the coach's corner that like bruised your toes up a little bit, like stepped on your toes, you know? Well, the word for today is judgmental. Judgmental. And I'm looking, Andrea, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Okay. So word for today is judgmental. And if you look at the definition, it's characterized by a tendency to judge harshly. Now, as soon as I got this word, I'm like, oh, I'm not a judgmental person. You know, I don't sit around every day judging Ronnie or sit around every day judging Andrea or Diane or, you know, I'm feeling all good about myself, right? I'm like, I'm not that person. I just do my own thing, you know? They're probably all judging me, which is a judgment statement, by the way. So I came across this quote. I really, really, really love it. It says, "It is not for me to judge another man's life. I must judge. I must choose. I must spurn. I purely for myself alone. Like I've got to look into myself, right?" And then I went across and I found, are you judgmental? Here's how you can tell. And this is where my toes kind of got bruised a little bit. Number one, you believe that everyone is out to get you. Let me ask you a question. And I got to be quick. But how many of you have gotten a text message and you've read through that text message almost with a tone attached to it? Like Ronnie sends me a text message and I'm mad at Ronnie. And it's like Ronnie didn't send it in a bad way. He just sent it in a good way. But I'm attaching this negative tone to this text message. So I'm immediately judging, right? Because he's got to be out to get me. He's got to be mad at me. He's got to be upset with me. Like there's got to be something. And I'm like, well, that's me. Number two, you expect other people to be consistent all the time. I can't tell you in my profession how many times I went, I just need them to do more. I need them to stay more consistent, you know? Number three, you struggle to see beyond a person's flaws. You struggle to see behind their flaws. Number four, you easily skip to conclusions. Andrea, I'm looking at your eyes. I can't tell if you're hearing me okay. Am I breaking up?
No, you're great.
Okay. I'm just making sure. So you struggle to see beyond a person's flaws. I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong one. You easily skip to conclusions. How many of you are like, maybe you don't have to say, but I've done this. Like I skip to conclusions too quick. You tend to believe people are either good or bad. You throw them in this pile or you throw them in that pile pretty quick. You struggle to truly appreciate or see the beauty in others. You feel anxious around people. You're suspicious and untrusting. And I'm going to kind of stop right there because let me tell you, when I looked at this and said, are you judgmental? Are you judgmental? Here's how you can tell. And I've really got to work on myself a lot, especially in my profession. The longer I'm in it, I find myself being less trusting or quick to judge are quick to be skeptical of a new something, right? And so when I looked at this word was great for me because I'm turning around today and I'm really looking in the mirror going, hey, what can I do to be better at not being so judgmental? And so, Andrea, I'm going to turn it to you because I know it's where you're going to take over and help us out.
Well, I didn't realize how much help I needed. So wow, great message, coach. Definitely my toes are a little bumped up this morning, so gonna have to work on that. So that's where I come in. I'm gonna talk about how to stop being so dang judgmental. So the quote that I found that I loved, it said, when you judge others, you do not define them, you define yourself. And that's Earl Nightingale. And I was kind of thinking about this morning. I'm like, I'm not judgmental, only when people disagree with me, right? Like, of course I'm right. And people that choose other things must be wrong. So I'm going to judge them on that. But they're making their decisions based on their truth and their right. So maybe I need to learn a little bit of this a little bit more. So I'm going to talk about the dual method. So DUAL. So first of all, and it makes it sound so easy. So just know that makes it sound really easy, but dual. First of all, don't pass judgment. Okay, but how do you start there? You first have to notice. So take some time, maybe take a day or a week or an hour and just kind of check your thoughts. When am I passing judgment? And I think about for myself when I'm scrolling, right? Like you get on that social media scroll and maybe people put out opinions that you don't agree with, that I don't agree with. And I'm like, oh my gosh, right? So noticing that is a judgment. That is not anybody's truth. That's just my judgment. So notice it first. And once you become aware, then you can work towards stopping. So the next one is understand. So instead of trying to judge somebody or instead of judging somebody for a choice that they made or how they look or whatever, try to instead understand the person and try to imagine their circumstances. I'm actually listening to a book right now. I think it's called Untamed. It's a little interesting. I'm not sure I recommend it yet, but it's pretty good. But there was a story in there where she was talking about her daughter, and there was a little boy in her daughter's class that like was always showing up at school really tired, never had his schoolwork done, a little bit dirty, right? And the little girl was like, I just don't know why he can't get his act together, pretty much. And the mom had to kind of dig deep and say, well, can you imagine why he might be dirty? Well, nobody's telling him to take a bath. Well, can you imagine why his folks aren't? And kind of digging that layer deeper where this little girl got to a place of compassion for her schoolmate. But I think we walk around, I'm saying me, I think I can walk around not imagining the circumstances that everybody else are in. Like I'm just thinking about mine. So why aren't we all in the same boat, right? So just trying to understand, try to imagine somebody else's current circumstance. And then 3, accept. So once we can understand, we can work on accepting. So accept who they are. Don't try to change them. They are beautiful and designed by God. So what makes me think that they're supposed to be anything different than what they are? I love this. Oh my gosh, I'm going to forget who said it. Who said it last night? I think it was Joy. So Joy last night said, if you look in the mirror and see anything other than, oh my gosh, what did she say? Somebody help me. Pretty much perfection. Like if you don't see anything other than like a great excellence, well, then look again, because you were designed by God and you were made perfectly. And stop being so judgmental of yourself. Well, we should look at everybody else that way. They were made by the same maker. They're no less than. So be accepting. And then the last one is love. And I have a little example of this. Once you've accepted somebody for who they are, try to love them. And this always makes me think of when my son, or actually, sorry, my daughter was in preschool, and there was a holy terror in that class. This little boy was a beastie. Like I call my kids beasties when they misbehave. This little boy like was a beastie. And I would get to preschool. It was a co-op, so we had to work there. So, you know, if your kid was there, you were working and participating in the preschool. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's here again. And I decided, you know what? He's not taking away this experience from us. I'm just going to love him. I literally would go in this, I don't know, it was a different kind of preschool. I literally would pick him up, put him on my lap, and I would play with him during like the circle time. I would entertain him on the playground. Like I gave this kid every ounce of love that I possibly could. And not only did that change my heart for him, like I saw him probably within the last year. He's 16 now, he's a grown man. I like ran up to this kid because I'm like, oh my gosh, he had no idea who I was, thought some crazy lady in the grocery store. But I loved on this kid. And not only did I change his preschool experience, but his mom called me like, thank you so much for giving him such a safe space, right? And it changed the whole dynamic from that love. So find somebody, right? If there's somebody in your life that you're maybe not as accepting of as you should be, well, go love on them. Because the more you love on them, the better you're going to feel, the better they're going to feel, and that judgment's going to go away. So that's what I've got for today, Coach. Thank you so much. Thanks for stepping on my toes. I'm going to work on this real hard.
No, Andrea, thank you. And thank you for last week. And just how many of you agree? She pours so much time into a word and preparing for it. And we all appreciate that. And let me say this as we end. I love seeing you guys around the world. Like Ashley and her dear husband are currently in Mexico, seeing a background of that. It's awesome to watch you guys travel and do things, and we get to experience life with you. It's just, I love it. I love it. I love it. And so many of you this is a positive judgment, right? So many of you, as I'm traveling back in, I've watched on social media just in the last little bit, like early this morning, and like the things that you're doing, you're stepping out. Like I see you just like challenging your limits and going after it in a lot of different directions, in your health, in your profession, in a lot of different areas. And I congratulate you. Keep it up, man. Y'all are doing a tremendous job. So love you guys. Grateful for you. Have a great Monday. We'll see you back tomorrow.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Andrea.
Guys.
Thanks for Andrea.
Thanks, y'all.